Today, I'm going to show you how to make the dude case. In this instructional video, I'm showing you how to assemble your dude case, and you can purchase my downloadable pattern and written instructions from my Etsy store. The link will be below. To start, print your instructions and cut out the pattern pieces. To save time, I like to lay out my pattern pieces on the fabric and then fuse the interfacing on the whole piece and then cut out my pattern pieces from it. Truth is, one of my least favorite parts is cutting, so this helps me save a bit of time and gives me the least amount of frustration. You will need outer fabric and lining fabric. I like to use denim or canvas for the outer fabric and then fun, colorful cotton fabric for the interior. Cotton is great for durability and washability. You will need a 22-inch zipper and then two 8-inch zippers for the inside, a small carabiner and rope, your handmade tags, strap and/or handmade strap, and some decorative rivets for finishing. The fabric for the body of your pattern is folded over twice and then cut out. Be sure to lay your pattern on the folded edges. Because the outer fabric is thicker denim and then it's infused with fleece, I like to use my electric rotary color for precision, and it gives me less hand fatigue. Once the outer shell is cut out, be sure to snip your centers with scissors or chalk. Use a couple pieces of outer fabric selvage for your zipper tabs. I like to remove the fleece for my tabs to help reduce the bulk during assembly. Next, we will make a few chalk marks. First, I draw my centers both vertical and horizontal, and then at each end draw a mark 2 inches from the top or bottom, which marks the center of the flap. Retrieve your strap. Find the center of the strap piece and match the center to the center chalk line. Personally, I don't like a big bulky strap, so I place a marker under the strap when I'm positioning it to give it a slight lift without being too bulgy. On the opposite side, position your handmade labels. This includes your main label, a sew-in label, and your country flag if you're using one. Pin everything in place and take it to the sewing machine. For the strap, stitch 2 lines of stitching a 1/4 inch apart on both ends. Then between the stitches, add a couple of decorative rivets. And finally, fold your zipper tab fabric and press. Position 1 tab at each narrow center. I like to use my zigzag stitch for the square dude case label. And if you're using sew-in labels, tack them in place with an 8-inch seam allowance along with the zipper tabs. Position all your lining pieces onto your interfaced lining fabric and cut out. Be sure to snip or mark your centers on the main body piece. Draw the zipper diagram onto the back side of the zipper pocket for carabiner, and be sure to draw center chalk lines on your body lining. Find the center, position the zipper pocket, and align the fabric to the top edge of the body. Pin and place, sew along the top and bottom lines. With your top and bottom lines sewn, cut through all the layers at the center line, snipping just to the triangles, and then the triangles at each end. Careful not to slip your stitches. Turn the pocket fabric to the back side of your lining and press. Using the 6-inch zipper, position the teeth side up and place your zipper opening on top. I sometimes use a little Oohoo glue stick to help position the zipper. Pin it all in place, attach your zipper foot to the sewing machine, and stitch around the zipper. Once the zipper is sewn, fold the bottom of the pocket up to meet the fabric at the top edge. Pull your liner fabric away to expose just the edges of the pocket and sew the 3 sides. Before you do this, be sure to insert your rope with carabiner on the 3rd side of the pocket to secure it in place. Once you've sewn around the perimeter of the pocket, you can trim off the excess zipper. Next, retrieve the double pocket with elastic. Fold the fabric in half on the long end with the open side at the bottom. Stitch on both sides from 1/2 inch from the folded edge to the bottom open end on both sides. Turn your work and press. What it's going to leave is a little opening at the top by the fold. Stitch a line 1/2 inch from that folded top to create a channel for the elastic to feed through. Feed your 6-inch elastic through the channel and stitch on one end to secure it. Then pull the elastic through to create tension. So there is about 1 inch of elastic pulled through to the outside. Stitch that in place and snip off the excess. On your body lining, mark a chalk line 1/2 inch above the flap edge and then find the pocket center. Place it upside down, matched to the center of the body lining, along the line you just drew. Create 2 darts to match the tension from the elastic. The bottom of your pocket should be 5 inches wide. Sew it in place. Flip the pocket up and sew the sides in place. At this point, it's up to you if you want to split the pocket in 2 or keep it as one long pocket. If you choose to have 2 sides, simply sew a line up the middle of the pocket. Retrieve the body zipper and mark the center. Lay the zipper teeth side down on the right side of the outer body and clip it in place. Notch around the curve edges to help fit the zipper. Using a zipper foot, sew the zipper in place and repeat the process on the other side. Next, align the body lining right sides together, matching your centers, and sew along the zipper line at both ends. Turn your work, press, and top stitch it. At this stage, I also like to baste around the entire perimeter of the project using a 1/8 seam allowance, and it helps to keep everything in line. Now that the body zipper is sewn in, you can attach the zipper heads to one or both sides. Retrieve the center zipper pouch pieces and place your zipper teeth side down along the top of the long edge of fabric. Place the second piece of fabric right side down, making a fabric zipper fabric sandwich. Clip and sew in place with a zipper foot. Fold both pieces of fabric outwards and press. Then fold one side up to meet the outside edge of the zipper. Then fold the other piece upward to match the back side edge of the zipper. Sew and turn your work. In this example, I've used closed-ended zippers, which makes it difficult to top stitch. In this case, I like to use hem tape to secure my inner edges for a cleaner, polished look. But if you've used open-ended zippers, then use a top stitch. Trim off any excess. Retrieve the body sidewall pieces. Fold each one in half on the long edge and sew the sides, leaving the bottoms open. Turn and press, and then find the center of each sidewall. Lay one end of the zippered pouch you just made against the middle of one of the sidewalls. Clip it in place and repeat on the other side. Sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance just to the bottom of the pouch, leaving about 3/4 of an inch unsewn at the bottom of the sidewall. We will be using that slack when we attach the sidewalls to the main body. Before we attach the sidewalls to the body of the bag, we need to sew the bag together. And here's a tip. Sewing the sides can be tricky, so I like to stitch down the zipper teeth first and then tackle the sides of the body. To do this, align the zipper teeth to the center of the middle body and sew just over the teeth on both sides. Then align your sides and sew it all in place. Once your body sides are sewn and secured, I like to give your bag a good inspection. Really press out the side seams and make sure that everything has been sewn. This is also a good time to trim loose threads and excess zipper ends and fabric. This inspection really helps to debulk your project. When attaching your sidewalls to the bag body, be sure you are working with the lining side out. Align the raw edge of one sidewall to the raw edge of your body. Clip it in place and repeat on the other side. Sew using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. With your sidewalls attached on both ends on the inside, you now fold the sidewall over the raw edge, which acts as bias tape. Smush it all down and fold it over tightly. Clip it in place and stitch in the ditch to secure. There's a lot of thickness and layers here, so I get as close as possible to the center zipper, but usually I am not able to sew over all the layers at this point with my domestic machine. Turn your work and push out all your edges, and go ahead and trim any loose threads you might find. I really like this production method because I'm not a fan of attaching bias tape to raw edges. I also find that this method helps give the bag stability and structure. Your final step is attaching the sidewall rivets to the bag body. Alternatively, you can hand sew the sidewalls to the body, but rivets are quicker and just as effective. I like to pin the sides in place to keep everything still while I punch holes and attach the rivets. If you're on the fence about purchasing a rivet press, I highly recommend it. I love, love, love my press and use this every time I make a bag or an article of clothing. I hope you've enjoyed this video and love your dude case even more. Please leave a comment below, or better yet, like my videos. Safe travels!